All right, I'm gonna call our regular board meeting Thursday, October 17th, 2024 to order at 4:31. The Board of Trustees regular meeting is now called to order. We welcome members of the public. Instructions on making public comment are posted in item 1 on the agenda. We will ask each item if there is public comment on it. Naomi, can you do roll call for us?
Yes. Trustee Baker,
Yes, I'm here.
Trustee Dodd,
Here.
Trustee Kishnev,
Here.
Trustee Iverson,
Here.
Trustee Olson. Here. Trustee DeLuna,
Trustee DeLuna is running late, but
Trustee Rios,
here.
and Student Trustee Cindy Gonzalez. Here.
Okay, thank you. Now let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Raphael, you wanna lead us?
Yeah, sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Raphael. Land acknowledgement. As we gather here today, it is important to acknowledge college and the surrounding Napa Valley sit on the unceded, traditional, ancestral, and contemporary homelands of the Miwok, Patwin, who are comprised of 3 federally recognized tribes: the Kasho-Dihi Band of Winton Indians of the Calusa Indian Community, the Klitzel-Dihi Band of Winton Indians, and the Yocha-Dihi Winton Nation and Wapo, including the Mishwa Wapo, also known as the Onostasis people. As part of Napa Valley College's mission of transforming lives through excellent educational and professional opportunities that are student-centered, equity-focused, and community-oriented, and in accordance with the college values of accountability, integrity, inclusion, respect, social justice, and sustainability, we make this acknowledgement. We also affirm that this acknowledgement is insufficient. It does not undo the harm that has been and continues to be perpetrated against Indigenous people, the land, and water. May we hold steady in our commitment to be in solidarity and in action to seek equity and justice with the Miwok, Patwin, and Wapo peoples. Thank you. Next is our adoption of the agenda. If there are no objections, the agenda is adopted by consensus. Do I have any objections? None. Thank you. Board of Trustees recognizes October as Filipino American History Month and honor the history of Filipinx Americans in our community, and encourages all students, staff, and families to deepen their understanding of the Filipinx community by celebrating their history, culture, and their many important contributions to American history and society. And at this time, the board will devote a total of up to 15 minutes to hear comments regarding closed session agenda items. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Naomi, do we have any public comment?
I do not have any comment cards.
Okay. At this point, we are going to adjourn. We're going to move into closed session and probably could come back at 5 is our goal. So that will adjourn us to a closed session, and we will be covering 4.1 conference with labor negotiators, 4.2 public employee performance evaluation. I'm gonna call us back to order. Turn the public session at 5:30. And we're gonna, if there are no announcements out of closed session, we're gonna move to public comment. This public comment opportunity is governed by the California Brown Act. By definition, this is an opportunity to hear concerns, perspectives, differing vantage points. The board is not able under the Brown Act to engage in any level of conversation or discussion, but we look forward to this opportunity to gather community input. At this time, the board will devote up to 15 minutes to review comments to the Board of Trustees regarding any subject not appearing as an agenda item for this meeting, but over which the board has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will occur at this time on such items. Each comment shall last no longer than 3 minutes. I have one from Miss Lisa Gibbs.
Hello, I'm Lisa Gibbs from Festival Napa Valley. It's really nice to see some of your faces here, Taro, hi, and some folks who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting personally. But I'm here as Festival Napa Valley Senior Director of Education and Community, and I'm in charge of Festival Napa Valley's education programs that run year-round, but particularly in the summer, and also all of our community-based, meaning free Arts for All programs. And I'm here to thank you for the partnership that we have with Festival Napa Valley and the college. It is truly an educational partnership, and it has resulted in some really, really wonderful things for the students at Napa Valley College, the dual enrolled students, for seniors involved in community education classes, and also for our students in our summer academies. Again, the things that we're doing, whether it's being involved in supporting Viva Mariachi or chartering buses for school students from all over Napa County to have a field trip to the Napa Valley College Performing Arts Center to see the live performance and learn that that theater is their theater and that college space is their college space, and they can go on a tour of the campus afterwards. All those things that we do together that strengthen the pipeline for our community to have well-educated, well-rounded students. And that is not to say that we're interested in growing the next generation of professional performing artists. It's that art is for everybody. And our Arts for All mission is that arts are not a luxury, they're for everyone. And anything that we can do to make that possible in our community, we do. And a large part of that is being able to use the facilities here at Napa Valley College. And also, we really hope that we're able to rent some of your dorm rooms. That would really make a big difference and move the needle for a lot of our young professional college and conservatory aged musicians, instrumentalists, and also the opera singers that we have coming from all over the world, actually, at this point, that have an experience learning about what Napa Valley is, and they learn that through their experience at Napa Valley College. So I'm here to say thank you. I'm going to be reporting some very specific metrics to the District Auxiliary Services Foundation about service area and what these partnerships have yielded. But we continue to work very closely with Bob Harris, the Dean, overseeing the performing arts programs, and with Jennifer King and Dr. Christina Howell. We just, we're so fortunate to have college and to have it as a great partner. So there you go. If you've got any questions about any of the programs that we do, or ways that and ideas that you feel would be places that we can grow together, I'd love to hear them. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Powell, and enjoy working with you very much and with each one of you in the community as well.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, we are going to move to our consent calendar.
Motion to approve?
About-
Or we should probably take public comment, sorry.
I'll take your motion, and Rafael, did you?
I second it, yes.
Any questions for trustees on the consent? Any public comment, Naomi? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. We hear you. Next, we are moving to our Napa Valley Transportation Authority Agreement. And we have Rebecca Schnick. Did I get that right? Your last name? Close. Rebecca has a PowerPoint for us, our slideshow.
Correct. Yeah. So thank you, Chair and members of the board. My name is Rebecca Schenk. I'm the transit manager at the Napa Valley Transportation Authority. And I'm going to be presenting a little bit for you today on the Napa Valley Transportation Program Pass. And so on the next slide, you'll just see a little outline, just a little background, kind of the general case for a college pass, the forecast forecasted costs over the 5-year period, kind of next steps, and then answer it, open it up for any questions you may have. So kind of next in terms of background, so NVTA, the Napa Valley Transportation Authority, operates the Vine Transit System here in Napa County. We serve the transit stop here, basically with 4 main routes, the Route G going into Napa up on Coombs to downtown, and then south down to Health and Human Services, the Route 10 going further to Napa via Saw School, and then going all the way as far north as Calistoga. The Route 21 going east, we stop at the Fairfield Transit Center and the Sassoon Train Depot, where we connect both with FAST, which is the Fairfield equivalent of us. And then we go down on the Route 11 down to American Canyon, and then into Vallejo, where we connect with Soul Trans and with the ferry. And so on the next page, you'll see just a little bit about kind of a general case for a college pass program. We modeled this program after a similar program that exists in neighboring Solano County. And so basically on that next slide, the majority of students live in the Vine service area. And we looked at the zip codes for enrollees. Classes, which generally range, it seems like between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. are within our existing scheduled service hours during the weekdays. And then we have started serving the campus here on Saturdays now, given the housing that exists. There's continued congestion along SR 29 and 12. And one way to kind of address that is to look at alternative modes of transportation, including transit. And then the cost of owning a car obviously puts a strain on budgets. I believe the parking fee here is $40 a semester, kind of as it stands, in addition to some additional costs. And then one other thing you could do on the bus is, let's say you haven't done your homework yet, you want to sit back and relax. That's something that you can do on the bus. Basically, you're texting or driving in this case. So then one other thing to touch on was just the kind of the forecasted costs. Each semester is what you're seeing there. So kind of in year one, it would be that first semester would be that spring semester, in 2025 would be if things pass today, and that would be the cost on a per semester basis. We've kind of put it, we'd say if you paid in the spring that you'd have, if you enrolled in the summer, you could use the bus system as well, and then you'd pay another semester fee in the fall. Part-time students would pay half. We're into a little chicken and egg problem, but basically if this would pass today, we're working with the Solano Transportation Authority, which is our equivalent over in Solano, to also do a free pass program. And they would make a board decision at their board in December of 2024 coming up. But our initial conversations have been very positive. They kind of see the benefit for their students who might be coming to take maybe a viticulture and enology class. And then we see the benefit of Napa students who might be going over there to say take a machinist class. And then our projections would be basically if students were paying the fee and there was a certain opt-out rate, we would yield about $60,000. And then we would want to get a minimum of $54,000 in that first year. And basically what that means, how we kind of came up with that number is based upon the number of people last year that were getting on and off the bus here at the Napa Valley College. That's about the amount of fare that we're currently collecting from students, and kind of how our overall system works. Basically through state and federal funding, we're able to cover basically 90% of our operating costs, but that state funding is dependent upon NVTA covering 10% of its operating costs through its fares and other pass programs such as this. And then just the last thing on the next page is we kind of have thought this through with the Student Affairs Department and Dr. Powell, we've been working with over the kind of last 9 months. Basically, you would pay a fee, you'd receive a sticker that would go on your ID. We would show the ID, and then the driver would report you basically using particular key on the fare box. We'd have data on how many students were riding. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, trustees?
I have a question. I saw when I was reviewing the materials, and you just mentioned about the minimum that NVTA needs to collect. What if you don't get the minimum? Is the district, is somebody have to cover the shortfall?
That was kind of what we, right, we're looking to do in order to make it available to all students.
I think that the projections that we put forth relative to our overall enrollment allowed us to back into the dollar amount that has been approved or authorized per semester. And so it would essentially be a fee levy to all students, which they've already voted to essentially tax themselves for. So essentially, as long as our enrollment doesn't drop significantly by 400 or 500 students, then we should not incur a cost as a district.
But so does that mean that, yes, if we did say enrollment or whatever happened dropped and that minimum is not met, is the district going to pick up that shortfall?
I believe we would be obligated to cover the cost in this scenario, correct, Government?
I think that'd be the idea. And I think, let's say, right, I don't know, another COVID happens, right? Or something along those lines. I think, we would definitely be open to renegotiation. I mean, something, for example, during COVID, we definitely cut back our service, for example, and then we did receive federal funds during that interim period. And we, for example, didn't require Calistoga, St. Helena, Yountville, and American Canyon, and they kind of pay that kind of 10% I was talking about for their student shuttles and their on-demand service, and we didn't have them pay that fee for that time. So I guess, yeah, in the event something catastrophic, I think something similar could happen.
Thank you. Yeah, it just wasn't clear
Sure.
in the materials. Thank you.
On the other side of that coin, I guess, is if MVTA or if fares would exceed, I guess, that baseline amount, would MVTA wouldn't be paying back or whatever to the college. That, which I think is totally appropriate. But I guess in a sense, if we were exceeding kind of traditional numbers and with ridership, that we wouldn't get any additional money for that, I guess is.
Right. As it stands, you could end up paying, let's just say, $61,000 or something along those lines, right? If every student, say, paid their fee and no one opted out, correct, we would collect a little bit more money. We would also be giving more rides to more of your students.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Any other questions? No? Got one up there?
No, I think it's really great. And Cindy, I don't know if it was kind of, were you on ASMVC last year?
No.
No, you weren't. Well, you should just shake your head, but you should take responsibility for this because I think this is really great because you're here right now. So you can just nod. Yeah. But no, I think it's great. I mean, there's the opportunity to have I would very much expect ridership to increase. And Cindy, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but just to get at this amount for a fee of especially in this first year of $7.80 for a full-time student and being able to have access throughout Napa County and presumably Solano County as well. I really actually am excited to see, potential numbers increase. And I think it's a really, this isn't the reason why we're doing it, it's just another amenity or to occupants of our student housing project. We're obviously students too. Yeah, it's a really nice piece coming together. And I think a win-win.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Dr. Guerrero, he presented this action item during our last ASMVC meeting and the board approved it. The only concern that a lot of the board members raised is that the fee will be added to the students' activity fee. So it'll raise the fee to almost $20, and students were concerned, or the board was concerned that more students would opt out of the fee, and that would lead to ASMVC, I guess, having less funds for student activities.
Well, thank you. And it's exciting seeing the work being done, and this is going to be, I think, a good thing for the college and the community. So it is an action item, you guys. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion by Jenny Olson. Trustee Olson, and a second by Trustee DeLuna. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
If I could add just a couple of quick things to this item. I do want to give thanks to Rebecca. I want to give thanks to Dr. G for their work on this. This was a discussion item, I think, within the first 3 or 4 months of me being hired. This idea and concept came out, and it's taken quite a bit of time for us to dial it in and get it right. But to Trustee Dodd's point, in terms of the overall benefit to students, I don't know that we can overstate how significant or impactful this is for students as it relates to access to transportation. My understanding is that a monthly bus pass for NVTA at present is $55 a month. And so think about the cost savings for our students at less than $9 a semester, right? In terms of what they're going to actually save, and in terms of increased access to transportation, which again, we know is one of the, major issues as we talk around student basic needs. So I just want to say thank you publicly for your work on this. Thank you, Dr. G. He's not here to receive his flowers tonight, but it has been, a lot of work going into something that's really going to be helpful for students. So thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, we are moving to. Hold on here. No, academic affairs, human affairs. We are moving to 12.1. This is endorsement of the property management firm for River Trail Village. It's an action item. And I'm gonna call on Mr. Jim Reeves.
Thank you, President Iverson. We are presenting a motion to endorse a recommendation to engage a new management firm for the River Trail Village housing complex. In the background here, we provide a summary of some of the concerns that have been raised by the college, our colleagues at senior staff and cabinet, with NCCD, the legal owner of the project under a P3, in addition to our bondholders who hold $85 million in debt on this project. And after extensive considerations, both by all parties, including colleagues on campus and the board, we've determined that it's best to move to another firm to provide these services. And we are recommending a new firm that we'll just go through just a few brief slides right now. There are 100 slides here, and I thought I'd keep it brief and maybe just do 90. No, just a few. We have sent out an RFP to about 5 firms who were qualified in this area and have had submitted and received responses from a fairly significant firm. We conducted interviews on site. We conducted interviews via Zoom with the candidate, and have made a recommendation to Asset Living as the new provider of services. Just a few notes on Asset Living. They have about 14,000 beds under management across the country, about 14,000 in California, many at UC Davis. So they certainly are understand doing business in California and doing business with higher education, student housing projects. They have done several startups. We still consider our project a startup, and they are indicating that their startup success rate is at about 95% occupancy over a 10-month period. I think that's a lofty goal given where we are today after the beginning of the semester, but they certainly indicated that they're capable of getting us there sooner or later. I would offer sooner is better than later. In addition, I asked them what their occupancy rate across their portfolio was, these 140,000 beds. They indicated that they have a public ranking at 95% occupancy across their portfolio. Now, that doesn't tell us what the range is, but certainly across their portfolio, on average at 95% is certainly promising for us. One of the big issues that we've had concerns about is how we market our program and how we distinguish the product lines that we have. We have building 1, as you know, is the traditional apartment. And then and the 2 other buildings 2 and 3 are more aligned with kind of traditional student orientations. So the marketing was a big question for us. Would you scroll down a little bit? You know what I mean? So their marketing, these are their service suite under marketing. They actually use a particular firm who does extensive analytics and develops platforms, both electronic and hard copy platforms for the delivery of messages about our program, particularly River Trail Village program, and how we can engage potential students and their families and other qualified personnel, persons to be part of our program. Next slide, please. Service suite, the next slide, please. The next slide, I think we're going to go into the marketing framework. There we go. This is the marketing support. This is a fairly impressive, this was an impressive piece of their presentation. They identified some things fairly quickly that we knew, and even some new things about our marketing strategies that weren't clear to us. So they demonstrated some initiative and some acumen in identifying areas that they could improve our housing leasing up. They also have extensive experience in college housing with residential life. So I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we're not just looking for a partner to lease up. We're looking for a partner to provide a quality and engaging student experience in the residential program, and they demonstrated that. Next slide, please. This is the firm doing the marketing, poetic capabilities, and highlights some of the aspects of their approach to marketing. Templates for platforms, electronic platforms are in place. We'll have to obviously put our own pictures in there, but they have templates in place to begin pushing that out. The and market analysis there. So let's conclude that there. We are anticipating a date to pass the baton, if you will, at November the 26th. We already have a notice to disengage or terminate services with Greystar. They have indicated they are willing, they would want to be very cooperative in the transition. It's important to note here that we've encouraged Greystar to encourage their on-the-ground staff, that they are supported, and that and I have encouraged them with the new operator that they'll have every chance to succeed with the new operator. That we are not looking to for a wholesale change in staffing. That will be an evaluation and training of existing staff is a model they work with, and will help ensure that we have continuity with our student experience in the residential program. So with that, I would certainly open the matter up for any questions from the board.
I have a question. Seems like they have a lot of experience from the ground up. Do they have any experience coming in kind of midstream? Like we're asking them to come into our project where we already have a lot of the branding, design collateral done.
They're considering this a startup, and they have a good experience with startups. 10 months, they believe they can move to 95%. I'm not going to hold them to 95%. Let's say I will hold them to 95%. So I would, to answer your question, Trustee Olson, I would say they have pretty good experience. We missed a particular window. Our window for this year actually was last fall to begin accelerating the kind of interest and the kind of branding and the kind of reach that we really needed to have better numbers this year. They have indicated they can move us forward fairly quickly, and their track record with other institutions seems to support that. But I would caution us that we would want to keep an eye on this. If we're at 95% in August of next year, I think we have a lot to celebrate, but I want to be cautiously optimistic here.
So just a follow-up question, they would do a complete analysis as to what we already have and what's working, and then fill in the gaps to enhance what we're
They
already started.
They will, and they actually had begun to do that as they were preparing this PowerPoint.
Right.
But I think we will see some changes in the image and the messages that go out there that are more specific to the kinds of facilities we have. One small example was, if you go on the site today, it sends everyone through the student portal. So if I want an apartment in building 1 and I'm a faculty member, for example, it sends me through the student portal through all the steps that a student might go through. But it's somewhat different than if I'm an independent family living in building 1. They picked up on that right away and indicated we need 2 websites. We need to funnel that group to this website and students through another website.
And I just have a question about access to the website, access to, multilingual services or anything like that. I'm assuming that that's something that they are providing.
Yes, we have multilingual services on the current website. And we of course would insist on multilingual services on any continuing efforts on our behalf. Trustee DeLuna, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Jim, Trustee Baker also has a question.
Yes, thank you. I was actually just curious about the language on the in board docs where for the action, it says the recommended action is a motion to endorse. And I don't feel like I've ever seen that before. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like usually it's like a motion to approve, motion, something to that effect. So I'm just wondering if this is something special or if I've just missed it before.
Good catch, Trustee Baker. Here's the explanation. The project isn't owned technically by the college. It's owned by a 501c3 NCCD. However, we are an important component to that. If we were not to endorse it, NCCD would likely not move forward, but we are not approving it. They would require at least our endorsement. If we were to say we approved it, that would go as well. But technically, we were endorsing a recommendation that NCCD legally makes.
Thank you.
I have a related question. So the contract would be with NCCD, correct? Because I saw that there wasn't a contract here, but changes that they were asking in the contract and leaving a number of things open where they said, oh, we'll leave that as a discussion item.
Yes.
But so then that kind of made me think, well, wait, this is
Yes.
not directly with us. So that's why we don't have that.
That's why we don't have that. Trustee Rios, that's a good catch as well. You'll notice that there were some changes in their fee. And we have with NCCD, we want to restructure that fee to them to provide some incentives to move forward vigorously. You didn't see that because it wasn't part of the contract. And ultimately, the board would want to understand that there is no change to the college's risk or liability other than the subordinated liability amount as part of the original ground lease agreement, which is up to $650,000 a year if the program doesn't perform. I'll share with you that the Voles Group has been very closely aligned with us in making recommendations to us about how the moves that we should be and could be making to reduce the liability of the college. And this is one of them. We need to move to another firm.
Thank you. And then I just have one comment related to this. So, and kind of Trustee DeLuna was asking, it's kind of related to that. My wife's a teacher. She helps students, high school students, with a lot of their applications and things. And one thing, I got an earful this week that in talking to her students and they're getting ready to apply to college, that they're not seeing the housing website when they look at Napa. And she compared it to others and said, these kids are looking at in YouTube and things like that and looking up these colleges, and they have their websites or a YouTube channel that some of them are pretty robust and really showcase like their housing. And so I said, it's not my fault. And, I said, I'm going to talk to Jim about this. So
Trustee Rios, please extend our thanks to your wife for that, for bringing that to mind. And that'll be top of mind, certainly, as we look forward to new marketing efforts. And that's just one little hiccup amongst many that we've experienced. So we look forward to you bringing back better news that she's finding that information on the website.
But thank you. I feel better.
I did want to point out and also welcome Jenna Sanders, but she was taking notes. So I think she's on it. Welcome, Jenna. I also wanted to thank you, Jim, and your team for moving this forward and bringing it to us tonight, because I know it took some work. So that said, it is an action item, and do we have a motion for endorsing?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Dodd and a second by trustee Rios. I got it. I was there. It was coming out, right? Okay, all those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, you are up. 12.2, our unrestricted general fund, 11.
Thank you, President Iverson. If I can call your attention to the budget schedule for the period ending, it's the first quarter period. I trust most of you are oriented to this now, but just briefly, this is the Fund 11, the unrestricted general fund, through September 30th of this year. So the first quarter, that percentage on the right of the header there, it says 3/12. So at 25%. So if you were to take just a quick glance down that right column and compare it to that 25%, that would give you a good idea of where we are at this point in the budget. So let's begin with revenue, because that's not at 25%. It's at about 4% of our budgeted revenue. And you will recall that as a community funded institution, our property tax revenues, our revenues from property taxes don't arrive until December, January. So those of you who have been on the board for some time know that we see a significant bump during that period. So we will see some significant bump again this year. So we're at about $287,000 short of where we were last year. I don't have any particular concerns here, certainly in terms of our history of receiving revenue. It's important to note that we carry effectively our reserves, carry our payroll and expenses for a period during this time of the year when our revenues are down. So that reserve gets to be a very critical matter as we operate the college and have cash on hand to pay our bills during these periods. Moving on to expenses, again, the metric is 25%. Total salaries, we're looking at 21%. I would just caution us here. Just to remind folks that we do not have CBAs in place for both classified and faculty. So while we have an earmark of $750,000 for those expenses, they have not been expensed yet. So 21% against the quarter of the year isn't a bad number, but it doesn't reflect total real costs. As we complete those CBAs, we'll see that those numbers go up as we confirm those commitments. Benefits is the same area, 22% against 25. Again, no real concern there in light of those CBAs being negotiated. Books and supplies, we're on target at 24%. We have one top, we have a significant variance of 147%, or about $3,874 to the wrong side of the ledger. It's not a big number. I suspect it's a one-time expenditure, and my notes say that it was, let's say, looking quickly here. More in department books that were not budgeted. So we can take another look at that, but it looks like some book purchases that didn't find their way to a budget. The other significant variances coming down the line here, 67% under other operating expenses. Looks like advertising and printing, is that correct? Let's see. 67% looks like a significant variance, is a significant variance.
I think it's dues and membership where that's happening, which is probably just because of annual fees that all coming due at the same time.
Thank you, trustee Baker. Trustee, I think trustee Baker could give this report.
I did have a question, though. There was another one, maintenance and repairs, which is running a little high. And that, I didn't know if that was because there were special projects that just, again, kind of got front loaded within the fiscal year, or if there were unanticipated things that ended up making that go higher.
Yeah, my notes say Bay Alarm Company with police. Those are alarm charges. I suspect trustee Baker, they are front loaded. We have some Highland Cloud charges that are front loaded, and we have some hosting and support in IT, I think, that are front loaded. So I think that's where we're seeing that kind of variance. And then moving down, I don't think we're seeing any significant variances beyond that. Our total expenditures, we're at 21% at 1 quarter through the year. So again, we are trending we're certainly trending below budget at this point, and I see no significant reason for concern at the unrestricted level.
Any questions? Information item? Thank you, Mr. Reeves. We are going to move to 13.1 reports, and we've got Jasenia is not here. Math Kronzer, Academic Senate report.
Okay, making sure I turn on my mic. Okay, progress. Hi, folks. It's nice to see you. One of the things I want to start with, although sort of outside the Academic Senate, like direct purview, was happy to attend a celebration of Denise Rosselli that was mentioned at the last meeting we had here. I didn't know Denise personally, but just listening to the stories coming out from our faculty colleagues, it seems she hired half the English department here. So it was a nice testament to the work that she had done on behalf of students and her faculty colleagues. And it was just a nice time to be there in solidarity to celebrate her work. In addition to that, at our last meeting, I also mentioned that we're continuing to look at enrollment systems and processes. I was happy to host Dr. Guerrero and Jessica Erickson at our last Senate business meeting to have a discussion on how we can support one another and make sure that students are having a seamless experience enrolling at NVC. I was a bit dismayed to hear that has been an ongoing issue in terms of the problems we face. But it does seem, based on my one-on-ones with Dr. Guerrero and speaking to Jessica, that a lot of solutions are being implemented as we speak. And we have some identified goals of where we want to see improvements, not only by the end of this semester, but as we prepare to register students for the spring. We are also continuing to explore some of the priorities that were identified in our previous year. One of those being looking at moving to a representative Senate. This is a big conversation. It's going to be an undertaking of certain heroism. So we'll see how that moves forward, but it was an identified priority from our last year. So we're continuing that as well. Another identified priority is really looking at our larger systems in place. We've had some challenges with how we onboard new committee members, looking at the charge and expectations of our various committees, and also how we support one another who wants to step into leadership positions. But we're looking into creating more guiding documents in place. Some committees do have identified handbooks that they update regularly, but many areas do not. And so it sort of relies on our faculty colleagues to do that work for one another. So we want something that in terms of the legacy of what other members can use to guide their work in those areas. So we don't have a lot of direct action items coming through yet. We're hoping to see that moving forward, particularly in the areas of policies, and get starting to receive those emails. A certain volume of those will be coming here soon. But for now, that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome back, Christy.
Hi. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm back already. My name is Christy. It's been 5 months since my last board meeting. I'm here for my colleague, John Kinchlow, who had to step away for a family obligation. So I'm here to give his report. First, the union team has been working along with the district team to finalize the 2024-2027 contract. The Faculty Association has submitted a salary proposal that reflects the shared goal as detailed within the contract of the union and the district to bring faculty salaries to a comparable level with the cost of living in Napa, California. We are awaiting the district's response currently. And meanwhile, we're also clearing up and working on other issues within the contract. As always, negotiations are ongoing. I wanted to highlight one other negotiating item for a moment and talk about our amazing writing and math success centers here at the college. Both centers are staffed by amazing student tutors, experienced and caring staff, and knowledgeable faculty, including my colleague who's sitting next to me right here. And their goal is to support our valued students, especially those who need the support the most. So part of our negotiations process is ensuring that the quality and integrity of these centers is protected going forward. And finally, as Matt mentioned, and as many of you know, last week we had the celebration of life here at the college for my beautiful friend Denise Roselli, who passed away on September 4th, just 6 days shy of her birthday. Losing her has been painful for many of us. She was a fixture here at the college. She was a den mother, a guide, and a role model, not only to being a great teacher, but also to being a great union leader. She brought me into the union leadership here, and I modeled my own presidency after hers. And I think it's through us, her friends, her colleagues, and most importantly, her students, that her legacy will live on here. And so I just wanted to say a final thank you to her. That is my report.
Thank you, Christy. President and board reports.
Good evening, everyone. So the first thing I'd like to report on in my report is about our current enrollments for fall 2024. And you can see that we are a little over 12,500, which is just over 11% higher than we were last fall at this time. We do have a number of late start classes that are beginning on Monday, October 21st, and this is part of the model of an 8+8 schedule where we place classes in the first half of the semester and the second half of the semester, which gives more options to students. This includes 23 sections of mostly general education courses, and you can see a select group of what those represent. We will be removing some ghost students. You've heard me talk about that before. And students from waitlists will be moving into courses. So that's something that's occurring this Friday. I also wanted to highlight a recent report that came out from the College Futures Foundation. And I don't know if you're like me, you've heard a lot in the last year or two where people are questioning the value of a college education. And these data make it very clear that there is great value in a college education, including an associate degree and certificate programs. So this report does a comparison across all of our systems in California, the CCCs, the UCs, and the CSUs. I'm reporting here on just the items from the table that relate to Napa Valley College. And as you look down the table, you'll notice that under field of study, there's this term SIP code. These are terms that are used to represent a range of disciplines within a category of study. So you will notice that doesn't match exactly what our majors are called. But I think the important highlights to note are that, like in the first example, which is the clearest representation of a significant change in earning potential for those students who graduate with a degree in any of the allied health areas. The years it takes to recoup the costs of that program, the College Futures Foundation is providing at 3/10 of a year. And that the median earnings after 5 years post-graduation are $112,000. And for a comparison group of folks who have only a high school credential, they are earning $26,000 in related fields. And you can look down the list and see liberal arts and sciences, general studies, and humanities takes them half a year to recoup those costs, and you can see it's they're making double what a similar high school graduate would make.
For business administration, management and operations, it takes eight tenths of a year to recoup those costs. And their earnings at 58,000 5 years after graduation, and so on. You can see that across a range of fields. So I think what's important here is that all of these fields, the students are making significantly more money than they would if they had stopped at high school. And this is for our degrees. This is with an associate degree, and in the second case with a certificate or diploma in those related fields. So it's a really important testament to the importance of a community college education, the importance of completing to credential end. Having that degree is very, very important. And I think is a message that we need to emphasize in the public eye that the reports that it's not worth it to go to college are factually inaccurate. So I want to applaud all of these programs for helping their students reach these ends and really changing the trajectory of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mora.
Kyle, can I ask a quick question of Dr. Mora?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just curious, can you confirm that the difference between earnings from a high school diploma only versus having an AA are of people actually still working in that field?
A related field, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
In the absence of Dr. Guerrero, I am next in the queue. If I can call your attention to the BPAS report, just to highlight a few areas, the audit of the financial statements for fiscal year ending June 24th are well underway. And we anticipate closing the books on that in the next few weeks and anticipate a report to the Board of Trustees at their December meeting. Associated with that was the filing of the 311 report to the Chancellor's office. The 311 report provides essentially the data we provide to our audit. It includes other pieces of information, including 5-year projections, 50% law compliance, et cetera. We will be reporting that on the details of that at our November meeting. Audit compliance with the 50% law requested by the 10 California community colleges, we believe is completed, certainly from Napa Valley's college's perspective. We are still in touch with the auditor just on a few fine points, and we expect a draft of that report in the near future. I would suggest that I would remind us that it is not an audit of a single institution. It's an analysis of the 50% law across several institutions to determine what trends are in place, what challenges are in place, et cetera. So we can look forward to seeing and hearing more about that in the near term. Student housing audit. The beds aren't warm yet, and the state wants to audit student housing. So we've been contacted to begin the audit of our student housing program. With respect to institutional technology, as part of our accreditation compliance requirements, we're moving forward with 2 aspects of that. Our total cost of ownership analysis and report, and with that, our strategic plan. We have a meeting tomorrow with the District Technology Committee to advance the schedule and move vigorously toward meeting Dr. Warnell's guidelines, which she reminds me about daily, I think. We spoke about River Trail Village, but I wanted to give you an update on occupancy there. To date, we've had 1,226 inquiries into student housing or interest there. We have fully executed agreements today at 144, or about 26.6%. And we have applications in progress of about 76. We have several marketing initiatives out there now, which we will begin to pull together into a single marketing approach very soon, as we discussed with the change in operators. The NVTA northbound bus stop improvement project is complete. We still have a little bit of paperwork to do on the agreement with the easement. But otherwise, they're operating now, and I've even seen huddled around the other bus stop shelter across the road there. So it's being well received. I would just add that the ash landfill work continues, and we continue to work with the county to provide monitoring of that site, and we will continue work on the permanent closure plan with that site. Finally, I would just provide you an update on the Wide Education Center. It is moving along nicely. It is being framed as we speak with the roof rafters being put in place. The budget is trending at budget thus far. Good news, and the schedule looks promising as well. We might have a 1 or 2 week delay in finishing due to some critical path issues related to electrical components, but in all, we are looking very positive there. I provided, unfortunately, a black and white report at the end of my report with some pictures on progress there, and I'll provide you color pictures if you'd like to see those. So that would conclude my report.
Thank you, Jim.
Good evening. Tonight, I want to welcome Kelly Tomlinson. Last board meeting, you all approved the hire of our new Title IX Civil Rights Compliance Manager. From the first day, I got her working, and we're focusing on our bias education response team and building out that process, working on our Title IX website and focusing on training so that we are in compliance in both training our employees as well as students, as well as a communication plan for both Title IX and the civil rights compliance piece. I want to focus on the latter part of my report, which is the NVC staffing demographics. As I previously reported, we have a new EEO plan, and part of our EEO plan is to focus on our efforts around recruitment and our efforts to diversify our faculty and staff. And in this plan, I have broken down by employee groups, administrative, confidential, faculty, and classified. And as of October the 7th, we have 260, and a total of that of 131 of these employees come from the following ethnic groups: African American, Hispanic, Native American, Asian, Pacific Islander, and that represents 50.4% of our regular employees in Napa Valley College. I just want to note that this does not reflect the demographics of our adjunct faculty or our part-time, short-term hourly employees. We are committed to provide this information monthly. We are a small district and we are still hiring. However, based on our numbers, I do not expect a significant shift in the percentages that are represented here, but I will continue to bring this as well as bring updated information with our recruitment efforts. Thank you, and that is my report this evening.
Thank you, Chara.
Good evening, board. Perfect. Let's see, I am here to provide an updated timeline for the accreditation follow-up report that's due by March 1st of next year. So this version has been updated since the spring or maybe the summer when you last saw it. So just kind of an overview, the fall part at the in the top half of the document has some approximate timing of the remaining monthly updates that we indicated that we would be providing throughout the fall semester. So hopefully you already received the one for August and the one for September. So the timing of those upcoming monthly updates is intended to include information presented at the meetings of our 3 district committees that are heavily engaged in the work to address our remaining college requirements. So those are college requirements 3 and 4. And those 3 district committees are the budget committee, the facilities committee, and the district technology committee. And so we're planning to have updates definitely in October and November, and then possibly in December, depending on the timing, if there's more to report by the time that the semester concludes. The bottom portion lays out the timeline for spring of 2025 and specifically the timeline for developing 3 iterative drafts. So beginning in January, the first draft will be shared with the primary group, which includes Dr. Powell, Dr. Mora, and the co-chairs of our 3 district committees, both administrative chairs and faculty or other chairs. And then the second iterative draft will be shared with the campus community. And at the extended cabinet meeting earlier this week, I indicated that we will be engaging our constituent group leaders and relying on them to help distribute that draft of the report to their constituents and collect feedback. We will also, as indicated in the period on January 24th through February 7th, we will be engaging those 3 district committees plus the planning committee in review of their specific portions of the follow-up report or the whole follow-up report, whichever is most appropriate for the group. And then the third draft will be attached to your board agenda item in February, where we anticipate approval by the board at that meeting. As I mentioned, the report is due by March 1st. One caveat is that obviously, I think that you all set your meeting dates every December. So this is subject to change if the date of the board meeting, particularly in February, were to change. So we'll be providing you with updates on that as appropriate. And finally, just to call your attention to the fact that there is a second, thank you, Noemi. There's a second attachment here on this item, which is our September updated, just in case you missed it. It did go out via email to the campus community on September 30th.
Thank you. Just a few quick updates from me. First, I want to formally welcome our new Director of Public Affairs Communication, Jenna Sanders. We are so happy to have you on board. She is rounding out week 2 and has already made an impact on the campus and a positive impression on the members of the college community. So thank you, Jenna. Looking forward to continue to work with you. And yeah, there's a lot to do and I'm glad you're here. So some good news. NVC was invited to apply for the U.S. Department of Education's Post-Secondary Success Recognition Program. This is something that the U.S. Department of Education administers to all community colleges, 2-year colleges around the country. We are one of only 7 of the 115 California community colleges that were invited to apply for this prestigious award. We are one of 11 ACCJC member institutes. So across the entire ACCJC, which covers, of course, the Western United States, Guam, I think parts of the Philippines as well. Only 11 institutions were invited of that entire group, and we were one of the 11. I think this is a positive indication of the work that collectively we as a campus community are doing on behalf of our students, and I think is really helping us move towards that bold, ambitious goal that I shared a few months ago of us being eligible for an Aspen Award and being competitive. This is a really good step in that direction. I want to say thank you in advance to Trustee Dodd and Trustee Olson for your help in getting us the letters of recommendation that are required for this application. That due date will be on November 1st. Thank you to Dr. Warnall, Dr. Mora, who will be working with me to submit this application so that we can be competitive in this process. So keep you posted on the outcome of that. My last piece is I'm back from Ghana, and I want to say thank you again to the board. Thank you to the members of my executive team and the extended campus community for really supporting me in attending this professional development opportunity in the ADIS conference, the All-African Diaspora Education Summit. This was a very personally transformative experience for me. As I've shared with some of you, the experiences that I've been able to really participate in and have, and the growth that I've had as a human being and as a leader as a result of this conference. I think more tangibly, one of the projects that I've actually committed the institution to, which I've shared with members of the team, and I've shared as a precursor to my attendance, is as we seek to really broaden the pool and the reach of Napa Valley College to be more inclusive of students from around the globe, as we welcome international students into our campus. moving forward. One of the priorities that I have is ensuring that the access to higher education and specifically NVC is something that we are distributing equitably. Typically, studying abroad is something that is restricted to a very specific student demographic, students with the financial means and resources to actually, come and travel to the United States to get their F1 visas and to pay for, the cost of attendance and the cost of living here. The project that I'm working on in collaboration with both the LA Community College District and the Los Rios Community College District is working towards creating two-way international exchanges for students so that we can send our students to universities on the continent of Africa, and we can create opportunities for African students to come and study here as well. And so this is a collaborative venture and project initiative between at least 3 districts, and there are several other higher education institutions outside of the state of California, which is they've joined us in this effort. So this is a very big initiative that I look forward to updating you on in subsequent board meetings in terms of our progress, but ensuring that as we broaden our access and we recruit a more diverse pool of students internationally, we are doing so in a very methodical and targeted way to create pathways for students from the continent of Africa is something that will be a work of effort moving forward. So with that, we conclude our president's area reports unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Dr. Powell. Next are our standing committee and other appointment reports, item 14.2. DAS met September 17th.
Yep. Yes, we did. I have a little report to share. I think it was mentioned in, I don't know which report was mentioned, I'm sorry, that the NVC Cafe is now offering a dinner delivery program to River residents. Dr. Powell, did you mention that? Maybe you mentioned it. It was part of your report. So they offer dinner in the community room Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. They're sharing 100 meals per day, funded by California lottery funds. So this is a 1-year pilot program, and we're hoping to have a more traditional meal plan starting next fall, 2025. Workforce training program, of course, the new program or the new project is the Wine and Food Training Center. Our DAS Napa CPR program now offers 230 courses. Over 1,000 students were served in fiscal year 23-24, which is an all-time high. These courses also included Spanish language courses, and we are working on a marketing plan to expand more community partners. And lastly, the NVC Print Shop online job services will have a soft launch in February or March of 2025. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Olson. Next, Trustee Rios, I believe BWT Board of Directors met.
There was a meeting on September 11th, which I could not attend, but a couple of things that I've been informed of. That the Napa Valley College Foundation announced a grant program for VWT students for housing, $500. And there was a goal of awarding, I think, 10 this year. There's a new winery manager, and I'm not sure about the pronunciation of the name, but it's Enoch Schollen, which is exciting, and he was welcome at the meeting. Did I miss anything really exciting, Jim? That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rios. I believe NVC Foundation, you guys meet at the end of this month.
We have a retreat at the end of this month, and just to piggyback off of Trustee Rios's comments too, from the Storm Cup, we awarded 24 subsidies, scholarships, grants to our students for a student housing project amounting to a little over $20,000. So that was nice. And then basically what we've done too, from like a budgeting standpoint, is we've set aside another, I think, approximately $30,000 that we have just collectively raised over the past 2 years to allocate and make sure we have the same amount for at least the minimum of what we're dedicating this year. That we'll be able to do the same next year and so on. So hopefully it really will be a perpetual grant. And with that amount, and hopefully it's even grows more significantly.
Thank you, trustee Dodd. 14.3, future agenda items. Do we have any agenda item requests? No. Okay, trustee and board chair reports 14.4. Let's start with our student trustee Gonzalez.
Okay, so for my report today, our last meeting was right before Club Rush. So we had Club Rush on September 17th and 18th. Student clubs and campus resources tabled during the event, and it was a great opportunity for students to come to campus and learn about and join student clubs. Second, the Student Advisory Council met with Dr. Powell last Thursday to present our findings about the accessibility of campus resources on the Napa Valley College website. The Student Advisory Council tried to simulate the experience of a new student navigating the college's website to find resources, and we shared our experiences and ideas for how to improve the accessibility of the website with Dr. Powell, who has guided us and supported us throughout the college project. So thank you. And one of our general impressions about the website is that there are many resources available to students. However, these resources may be difficult for students to navigate to on the NVC website if they don't already know about the resource and the name of the resource. Third, PTK hosted bowling night this past Tuesday, the 15th at Napa Bowl. The event was open to all students and was very successful. There were about 45 students when another board member and myself were there. So that was nice to see. The Student Advisory Council and an RTV resident assistant met with Dr. Smith, the Dean of Counseling Services, yesterday to discuss our experiences with the 5 steps to enroll at NVC, and we shared our suggestions on how to improve the process for new students. One of our general impressions or suggestions were to improve the college orientation for students by removing the quizzes that are incorporated into the orientation. Fifth, during our last ASMVC meeting, a few of the resident assistants from River Trail Village introduced themselves to the ASMVC board. And they shared their experiences so far living at River Trail Village, which was very nice to hear. They shared that the study rooms and the basic needs resources offered to students living on campus are very useful and helpful to them as students. A few upcoming events are that the PTK board will be attending the PTK Fall Leadership Conference, which starts tomorrow in San Jose. Then we have Boo Bash, ASMVC's annual Halloween event, which will be held next Thursday, October 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. It'll be open to the public. It'll be held at River Trail Village. Some campus clubs will table for the event. And they'll be passing out candy or facilitating an activity. There will also be spooky trails during the event. So yeah, it's open to the community. Next, as part of the Honors in Action Project, PTK will be hosting a Chalk and Talk event on October 30th from 12 to 1 p.m. in the Library Plaza. The event is open to all students and is focused on mental health. The Student Health Center and Mentis will be tabling during the event and providing students with information about mental health services offered on campus. The event offers an opportunity for students to express their feelings through art. And lastly, students from the DOCC Club, which is the campus's pre-health and pre-med club, will be attending the UC Davis Pre-Health Conference on October 2nd. The conference includes a great variety of workshops and is a great opportunity for pre-health students to learn more about health professions and connect with professionals in the health field and connect to graduate programs.
Nice report. Trustee Kishner.
I have no report tonight.
Trustee DeLuna. Trustee Rios. Trustee Olson.
No report.
Trustee Dodd.
Make it a clean. How can you follow Cindy? I mean, yeah. Well done.
I did actually, I did. We have been discussing trying to help our student trustees. And our first trustee that's going to act as a mentor is Trustee Rafael Rios. So He is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I look forward to it.
Me too.
All right, with that, our next regular board meeting will be 11/21/2024. And I'm gonna adjourn us at 6:44.